Hi there, Homespun Friends. It is Sherry, and it is wonderful to see you today. As you can tell, I'm coming to you from my kitchen where I want to share with you one of my favorite all-time great deals at Goodwill. Now, we have a fantastic Goodwill here in our town. It's one of the only ones of its kind. We have a coffee house in our Goodwill. That's right, we have a coffee house that's located inside of the Goodwill. They sell coffee, hot teas, all kinds of different drinks and snacks. They sell donuts, muffins, and cookies, and they have a lot of seating there where you can just sit and look out over the store and enjoy yourself. We also have a technology center where they sell all kinds of wonderful technology equipment with people there who are trained in understanding how all of that works. We also have an educational section of our store with classrooms where people can be trained to do different jobs in our county. And there's also a birthday party room, or what they basically call a party room. It's used a lot for birthday parties, but it can be used for special occasions like anniversaries or anything. It's all glass. And it's absolutely beautiful in there. And so our Goodwill is fantastic, and I love going. And on Tuesdays, senior adults get 25% off. Now, I was trying to remember if a senior starts at the age of 50 or 55 at the Goodwill. All I know is that I'm about to be 59 next month and I get the discount. So I'm excited about that. And I love to go on Tuesdays and just see what they have, especially to look for books. But one day here a few months ago, my husband and I were walking around in there and I spotted something on one of the bottom shelves on an aisle that didn't have a whole lot on it. How I spotted it still, I'm not even sure, except the good Lord just shined a light down there and I looked and happened to see a box. Now the box was heavy and it was kind of faded, but I could see on the outside was what looked like pottery canisters. And as I pulled the box up and got it into my cart, I realized that it was sealed shut, and it looked like it had been sealed shut from the manufacturer. It didn't look like the store had done it. It looked like it had always been there. And on the box, it said, Molly Stone Yellowware. Now, I know that Yellowware is very popular. It is a sort of country farmhouse themed item from probably what I would consider vintage. It's a vintage item. And so I thought, wow, I have really got to check this out. This looks like something I have been looking for. And so I began to try to tear some of the tape away. And when I got the box opened, I realized it had never been opened before. The styrofoam and all of the shrink wrapping, it was all in place. Everything was in that box, just like it had been originally there. So I closed it up. I looked at the price. It was $14.99. I shook it a little bit. I didn't hear anything broken. And I told my husband, I'm just going to risk it and get this. If these canisters are in there, fantastic. If one or two of them's broken, it's okay. It would still be worth the money to buy this for $14.99. So as soon as I got it home, I looked it up on my phone. Now, sometimes I look things up on my phone while I'm in the store, but that particular day, I didn't do that. I waited till I got home and I realized that these canisters are typically available now used. If you can find them, they're used because they no longer sell them. And a 4-piece set brand new, I saw one there for like $249 for the 4-piece set unused, but I only found one that was brand new. I found some various canisters being sold in their used state for about $24, $25. I even saw one old yard sale that looked like they had a set there that were opened and set out for about $40, which would have been a steal to find them at that price as well. So for me to have found this entire set for $14.99 was just something. I mean, it was like a miracle to me because I had been looking for something country farmhouse that I could use to hold my wheat berries. You know that in a previous video I showed you around Christmas time, I got the Como Classic grain mill and I've been using wheat berries and grinding out my own flour. And so I really wanted a way to keep some wheat berries on my counter since I use them every week. And I primarily needed 3 containers to do that because I use the hard red, the hard white, and the soft white most often. And that's what I wanted to keep readily available right here on my counter. Now, I had shown you also in a previous video these containers that I had found at Walmart right before Christmas or around the Christmas time. They came in like a bundle that was on special for Christmas. And they're wonderful plastic bins. I think they're made by Better Homes and Gardens, and these tops just pop open, and this is airtight and all sealed up. Now, if you're wondering what this is in here, oh, it smells so good. My sister-in-law, who lives in Tennessee and came home for Mother's Day, stopped at Buc-ee's, and she brought us home some of these little sweet nuggets that they sell there, and they are absolutely wonderful. And so I had never had them before, and neither had my husband, and so she brought us some to try, and now we're hooked, and we're gonna have to find a place where we can buy them online because we love them so much. But this is one of the taller canisters that I had been using to store wheat berries. And then we also use like the shorter ones to store like saltine crackers. We eat, crackers just about every day with maybe a little peanut butter or something. And so we store some crackers in there, and it keeps them in perfect condition because, we might eat them a few days and a little bit every few days. And then you want them to stay fresh for a longer period of time, especially for a week or two, while they're unwrapped from their packaging. Now, in the past, I had always used like Ziploc bags and things like that. But in an effort to conserve, I wanted to find a reusable container that was airtight. That's what I'm trying to say. And so that's what I found, and that's what I was using to store my wheat berries until I found these canisters. Now let me show them to you. There's 4 of them. This tallest one right now is empty because it's so large. I really didn't want to fill it completely with wheat berries. I want to find another purpose for it, although I haven't found the exact purpose for it yet. I know that I will find it. Maybe you guys can help me think of some ideas. But this is the largest one, as you can see, absolutely beautiful. Let me back up the camera just a little bit. And you can see that each one of these canisters is similar, but they have a little bit of a different pattern on them, and that is how they were made. And so when you open the lid on this canister, and just by comparison, I will show you this largest plastic container next to it. Let me pull this down a little bit so you can check that out. You can see size-wise how large that largest canister is. Hope I'm not making you too dizzy by moving the camera around so much. But each one of these lids had this like rubber seal or gasket on it. This one is in really good condition, but the gaskets on a couple of the others, they just didn't look like they were in great shape. I'm not sure if it was because of the fact that they were not in great shape to start. I think they probably were. It was probably just a matter of age. They had probably aged inside of that, inside of that box, and they were just no longer usable. So I took them off and got rid of them because I didn't need them. But this one was in great shape, and since I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this largest pottery canister, I'm going to hold on to this particular gasket. But there you go, and then I'll show you the inside. Now, you're going to see a little bit of white in there. The ones that I use for my wheat berries, of course, I wash them out with hot soapy water, but this one I have not washed since I haven't used it for anything. I haven't really washed it out inside. So there's a little bit of styrofoam you might see in there. And then, let's see. Well, I was going to try to show you what it says on the bottom here. That Molly Stone yellowware. And it says dishwasher safe. And so it's very, very pretty. And then these others, I'll give you a quick look at them. This holds my hard white wheat berries. It is the wheat berry that I use most often, the hard white. I use a hard white or a mixture of the hard white and the hard red to make all the breads. And so I'll show you I'm sure you know what wheat berries look like, but some may not know because if they've never used them before, you wouldn't know. But they look like little sunflower kernels almost. Can you see that in there? And you pour these in this hopper. You turn on the grain mill, that's what I'm trying to say. And you pour the wheat berries in there, and then it grinds them up. And the flour comes out, this spout right here, into a bowl that I have set underneath it. And the flour is fresh, with no preservatives or anything like that. And it's in its full nutritional form. And so that's why I really love using the wheat berries to make my bread. And so this is the canister that I use for the hard white. And then this one for the hard red. I'll show you the difference in how they look. They look very similar, of course, but they're a little bit darker in their color because this is what you would use to make whole wheat. You know how whole wheat grains are so much like darker. So that's the hard red. And then the soft wheat berries are used to make things like cookies and muffins and cakes and that sort of thing. I don't use them quite as much as I use the hard wheat berries, but I do use them, but I don't use them as quite as often. And this one's pretty full, but I'll show you what that looks like. They are very light, as you can tell. And so these canisters fit perfectly with what I love and my theme in my kitchen. And so I have enjoyed having them so much and love finding a great deal when I find something I want. I was very happy to find that. Now, like I said, one of the other favorite things that I can find at Goodwill are books. I love to go in there and find books. And I found some last week, and I thought I'd just show you an example of what I look for when I go. I have talked to several of you about favorite books in the past, and you know that I love Amish fiction. Well, I love all kinds of different fiction, but I love fiction kind of set in the Great Depression or that has some kind of Amish thing. I love that too. And so I found these two books right away. Now, our books there are 99 cents, but if I go on Tuesdays, I can get the softback books for 75 cents each. Really can't beat that kind of deal. And so I saw this book by Cindy Wood Small. It's called When the Morning Comes. No, that's not the first one that I found. I actually found book 1 first, When the Heart Cries. This was the one that I saw first. And then right near it, several books over, was this book 2. Now, this series is called Sisters of the Quilt. And so I found these two. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if that third book in that series is there. Because the person who turned these in probably had all 3. And sure enough, I went back and looked through and spotted the last one, the Sisters of the Quilt, book 3, When the Soul Mends. And so all 3 of these books were like $2.25 for all 3. And I love having a whole set on my bookshelves because it is nice when you have the opportunity to sit and be quiet and to read. And while I can get lots of books on my iPad and I can read online, which I do enjoy, there's nothing quite like holding a book in our hands. Just this morning, we were sitting around getting ready. My husband had a little checkup at the doctor, just like his yearly checkup, and he was waiting for it to come about. And the power went out. It just glitched out. And I was like, what in the world? And it very rarely has done this. We've lived here 9 years in this house, and I think it may have gone off maybe 4 or 5 times or something like that, but never stays off for very long. But there wasn't a storm. We didn't hear an accident or anything. Later, our power company wrote us and told us that something had come into contact with one of the lines and it had interfered with the electrical service in our area. But it was pretty soon, within 30 minutes, it was restored. But the initial time that they gave us was like 5 hours away. It was like you're going to be at home 5 hours without any power. And I started thinking what it would be like if we lose internet access, if we lose our ability to turn on our computers, and to be able to look things up online. That would be so hard. And that's when having, magazines and books and things like that on your bookshelves would really come in handy. And, it's hard to imagine that ever happening, but we just don't know, do we? There's been a lot of things that have happened lately that I never imagined would happen. So I'm going to be ready when that time comes. And then I found this book. Now, the hardback books at my Goodwill are $1.39. I mean, you just really can't beat that. But I found this beautiful, very thick, heavy book by Better Homes. It's his new complete guide to gardening. The only problem is it's no longer new because this book was put out in the 90s, and now in 2023, it's no longer the new book. But that's okay because it still holds a lot of wonderful information inside. It is a full colored book with lots and lots of pictures and ideas about all kinds of landscaping and gardening of all kinds, and fruit trees and vegetables. I was just going to try to flip through just all kinds of flowers, and it tells you all about them. And just for enjoyment, even if you don't need all of these things, it is wonderful to be able to have access to a book like this just to look through for the beauty of it. And so I decided to buy this one, and I have really enjoyed having that on my bookshelves. I've pulled it out a couple of times and just glanced through it because I have enjoyed it. And there you go. There's the back of it right there. It tells you all kinds of things. And you can click Guide to Gardening, and it shows you like your mowing height, what you should mow, and 550 plant profiles and illustrations on how to do different types of gardening. molding your flower beds and all that kind of thing. Wow, just such a great resource. Even though it's not a brand new book, it's still a great book. And so these are the kind of deals that I love to find when I go to Goodwill. Now, tell me about what you enjoy. What is the best deal that you have ever found when you have gone out thrifting? Perhaps it has been at a yard sale. Perhaps it has been at another type of discount store or bargain store. Let me know what you look for when you go, or what some great finds are that you run into when you are out, because it seems like that's one of the greatest joys and thrills to me, is to find something I would really want to have anyway, but to find it at a very low price is exciting. There you go, friends. That is what I wanted to share with you today. It has been so much fun to sit and have you in my home. I love you all so much. I look forward so much to seeing you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.